This
providing the
conference
feature.
will now be recorded.
It's providing the feature like either the transactions are completed fully or no effect at all, or it is rollback. So for example, like while we draw money from ATM, either the transaction is completed fully or it is rollback. So similarly, such a feature we have here also. As well as concurrency. Concurrency means like multiple users can access the database. Like one user can select and view the records while the other user may be able to update or insert the records and so on. So such features we have in case of your RDBMS. And how the Oracle is dominating the other technologies, means like IBM or Microsoft or whatever it is, the other databases are just far behind. So like in 2018, according to 2018 features, Oracle is dominating by 48%. Okay, so this is actually 42% is a old value. Now by 2018, 48% of the databases is dominated by only solely Oracle, right? Next one, we have the interface, like we have the SQL structured query language we have. This is a tool through which any new user can learn easily and understand the concepts faster. Like while querying the data or managing the databases, the SQL is giving the new feature, enhanced feature for the Oracle database, which adds a leaf into the feather of the Oracle RDBMS. Fine. So next one is, we'll see about the tasks of the DBA. So what are all the tasks of the DBA expected by the client normally? So first one is installing and upgrading database software and application tools. Means like we should know, DBA should know to install the software like either 11G or 12C, or upgrading from 9A to 12C or 12C to 18C or 19C, whatever it is. So the DBA is expected to upgrade as well as the installing the software. Next one is allocating system storage and planning future allocation. What do you mean by this? Means like we used to say as coin the term called capacity planning. Means we used to allocate the resources, like we should have some insight before itself, like after 6 months my transactions might get doubled or tripled. So accordingly my storage I have to design, I have to tell my client accordingly. My hard disk I have to improve. So like that, the capacity I should be able to get a foresight earlier, so that accordingly I can do some proactive measures. Okay, so that is what is called allocating system storage and planning future allocation. And then creating database and its storage parameters. So you should know to create the database and the corresponding storage parameters. Means what, like which type of parameters, 12C, what are all the new parameters are there. So which like flashback I can go, which card I can go, I can improve how my memory, all these things I should have an idea. Then creating database structures, objects, users, and granting privileges. So like I should know to create the database as well as the objects. Objects means like tables, views, synonyms, or sequences, or whatever it is. And then creating the users and granting privileges. So what do you mean by this? Like if he is a team lead, okay, I don't need to give any write permission or any only read permission is enough, right? So if he is a project manager, only read permission is enough. Only for the developer I'm going to give all the 3 permissions. So I should know the role of the user and I have to give the privileges accordingly, right? So this is what the next task of the DBA. So next one is setting up database security and auditing. What do you mean by this? Means like we have the new feature, like in our 12C and all, we have the database vault, then TDE is being introduced. Then auditing means like suspecting a particular user. So I'm a DBA, I'm suspecting a particular user whether he's accessing some sensitive tables and modifying something. So I want to monitor in the user level as well as in the object level, that is in the table level. So like ransomware and all, we had the threat, right? So to avoid it, which type of security I can go for according to my databases? So normally we have the two types of databases we have, right? Like we have, so one is operational, that is online transactional processing, that is OLTP databases. OLTP. The other one is OLAP. So OLTP means, like for example, it depends on deadlines. So within that particular time, that particular task should have been completed. Otherwise, it will throw you out. Like for example, while we are browsing the net, right, in net banking, while we are doing, it will throw you. Like within 1 second or 2 seconds, if you are idle, it will throw us out, right? So that is what is the deadline, covering the deadline. So such type of databases we call as OLTP. So this is very much transaction oriented. So example we can see as banks. Okay. So banks we can say as OLTP databases. And OLAP means like online analytical processing. We do the surveys. We don't give much importance to the transaction part. So we give much importance to the analysis and generating the reports and so on. So like excuse me, in our YouTube, while we were browsing the YouTube, we might come across like finish the survey, what is your age, which type of product you are interested in, like that we used to get, right? So such type of databases we call as OLAP. So data warehouses are the examples. Or like medicinal medical claim records are there. Like just we'll maintain it as a record, that's it. So we won't be doing any much transactions, we won't be doing. So these are the two types of OLTP and OLAP databases. So accordingly, I have to design which one I have to go for. Okay. So that is what is the setting up, security and auditing. Fine. So next one is setting up backup and recovery. So what do you mean by this? So if my database goes off, if it's shuts down, or if it's gets crashed, what I'll do? I want one more copy of that, right? So that is what is a backup. And if I'm applying archive logs, that is the meantime, the updates, if I want to have, right? So that one will be seeing in the class. So these are all the recovery. Okay, backup and recovery. As I said earlier, in my OLTP database or OLAP database, accordingly I should know which type of backup strategy I'm going to choose. Either I'm going to go for cold backup or hot backup, or I'm going to choose ORMAN. So like monthly once I'm going to take the cold backup. If it is for example monthly once means if the transactions are not that much critical, or I don't get much time to shut down my system, my production, and I might require some 3 months, I might require to do my take my cold backup. So all those things I have to decide based on the type of the transactions, the criticality of the transactions, and how frequent I want my transactions to be taken the backup. Fine. If it is data warehousing means, that's a strategy I can change to hot backup or so. Next one is setting up database monitoring. So what do you mean by this? Means like monitoring the database. I should know which type of alerts and notifications have to be configured, and whether the table spaces are reaching 90% or so. So I should know which objects are to be optimized. Okay, which objects I want to be in the database and which objects I don't want. So all these things I should be knowing it. So using Oracle Enterprise Manager, such a tool we have, through which I'll be able to monitor the database. Next one is database optimization and performance tuning. So like mining the data we used to do, like which are all the data I want to keep it and which are all the data I want to delete it or move it to the low storage or to the remote storage I want to move. So accordingly, I am optimizing my database. Next one is tuning the performance. Means like one user might come and tell us, Oracle DBA, the developer might come and tell report that yesterday evening my query was running properly, but now it is taking much 10 minutes more it is taking. What is the reason for it? What might be the reason? So we have to check it whether either the same problem is occurring daily or weekly once it is occurring, or at what time such a thing, that is this issue is often occurring or recurring it is, so or occasionally it is occurring. So accordingly we have to provide the solution to the user, whether it is we have to go for query tuning or memory tuning or bandwidth tuning. So which type of tuning you have to go, we have to decide it, right? Next one is maintaining database and implementing high availability. So the database maintenance, as I said earlier, we should know which objects I want to put it in high storage. High means highly cost effective storage, and which one I want to move it to the low cost storage. So all those things I should know how to maintain my database. And high availability means like we have two types of availability available in our Oracle database. So one is rack. Okay, one is rack. Rack means real application clusters. Real application clusters. Second one is data guard. Okay, so what do you mean by this? Data guard means we'll see now. See, I have my machine here. Just bear with my drawing. I have my machine here. I have a database. Okay, so my database is here, right? So this is my single machine. Okay, I have my instance or my memory RAM. I'm connecting with my hard disk where I'm having my database. So if this instance goes off, what I'll do? Okay, so what we are doing is we are maintaining one more node. There is one or more number of nodes, so that even if this node goes off, through the other nodes I'll be able to access my database, right? So this is what is called a real application cluster. Cluster means a group of nodes. Okay, so instead of this getting, if this gets crashed, no need that I have to worry about it. Through some other node also I'll be able to access my database. So this is what is real application clusters. Next one is data guard. So data guard means what? This is my database. My machine is okay, but my database gets crashed. Okay, so how will I access my database? So what I'm doing, I'm maintaining one more copy of this database. Okay, so I'm calling this as primary database. The other one is standby database. Okay, so as soon as this gets crashed, this will automatically be started. This will start working as the primary database. This is what is the data guard. Fine. So do you have till now any doubts, Santosh?
I am fine. Good. Thanks.
Okay, fine. If you have any, just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how our high availability is being maintained. That is real application clusters or data guard is being maintained. Fine. Next one we'll see about Oracle architecture. That is the basic architecture. Okay. So our Oracle server contains two components. Okay. Oracle server contains two components. One is Oracle instance. The other one is Oracle database. So what do you mean by an instance? Means this instance contains two components again in turn. So memory structures and background processes. So our Oracle database contains three components. One is data files, the other one is control files, the other one is read log files, right? So these memory structures, we can classify it again into SGA and PGA, right? I'll repeat. See, our Oracle server contains two components. One is instance, the other one is database. So the instance contains two components. One is memory structures, the other one is background processes. Our Oracle database contains three components. That is data files, control files, and read log files. So the memory structures, you can classify it into two components. One is SGA, the other one is PGA. So we'll see what these are. So I'll tell what is SGA means System Global Area or Shared Global Area. Shared Global Area. Next one is PGA, Program Global Area or Process Global Area. So we'll see one by one what are the components, everything. So here we are getting inside the database. We are logging into the database. Okay. We are connecting like user ID / password like Scott/Tiger or so. We are getting inside the database. So as soon as you give login into the database, one user process is created. Okay. As soon as we log in into the database, one user process is created. This user process is invoking a server process. Okay. So this user process is invoking a server process. So this server process is getting connected with this instance. So now we should know what is the purpose of this server process. Means its purpose is to monitor that whatever the requests the user process is sending. So for example, I want to select and view the records of a particular table, or I want to insert some records. I have given the command. I have typed the command. So I have inserted, or I have deleted, or I have updated some records. So the server process will oversee, okay, will monitor that the request sent by the user process is being executed or not. Fine. So that is the purpose of the server process. And here we have in the server process, there are two types of server process available. So one is one is dedicated server process. So server process, two types. One is dedicated, the other one is shared. So what do you mean by this? Means dedicated means one user process is there. Okay. For every one user process, one server process is being allocated. Okay. For every one user process, one server process is being allocated. That we call it as dedicated server process. So the other one is shared server process. Means what? See, for example, user U1 is has logged in, and U2 also has logged in. Okay. So user U1 is doing nothing. He is just logged in and he is idle. Okay. But for this user U1, one server process is being allocated called S1, right? So this user U2 is doing lots and lots of transactions. Okay, loads of transactions this U2 is doing. So now what will happen? The server process S2 is being allocated for this U2, right? But this S2 is not able to do the requirement, to satisfy the requirement of U2's request. So it needs some more server process, but this server process is idle here. So what it will do, this will come and serve this user process. Okay. As long as this user U1 process is idle, this S1 will come and serve this U2, right? So as soon as the U1, for example, he's shaking the mouse, or he started typing something, so the server S1 process will again go back to the U1 process, right? So this is what is called the dedicated and shared server process. Okay. So now this is how it happens. From here, it goes to the instance. So we saw that instance and background, instance contains memory structures and background processes we saw, right? So memory structures means what? SGA and PGA. So this SGA means what? System global area. So what happens? The server process is getting connected with the instance. So this shared pool is a component. SGA contains the components called shared pool, database buffer cache, redo log buffer cache, Java pool, and large pool. Okay. So as soon as this shared pool, it's getting inside. Okay. This shared pool again contains two components. One is library cache, the other one is data dictionary cache. So library cache means what? What happens in the shared pool? Okay. So shared pool contains library cache and then data dictionary cache. Library cache and data dictionary cache. So this library cache, what happens? Okay. Library cache, first one, it is doing parsing. So what do you mean by parsing? Parsing means just like scanning, we are scanning a page or scanning whatever we are giving the input. Okay. So under this parsing, we have so many types. One is syntactic parsing. Okay. Syntactic parsing. Second one is semantic parsing. Third one is hard parsing. Fourth one is soft parsing. Okay. So the syntactic parsing means what? So it is following the rules. Okay. It is following the rules means, for example, I'm giving a statement like this. See, select star from table name I'm giving. Okay. Select star from T1. So the syntactic parsing means this library cache will check. See, first one is select. Okay, correct. After that, one space should be there. Okay, it's there. Then star is there. Okay. After that, one space is there. Okay. After that, one from keyword is there. Okay. After that, one space is there. Like this, it will just check whether it is following the rules or not. Okay. So that is what is called syntactic parsing. Next one is semantic. Semantic means what? It is checking whether it gives the meaningful query is being written or not. So for example, select star from T1, if I give that T1 is a table, is an object existing in the database or not. Okay. So it is checking whether meaning is given by the query or not. Next one is hard parsing. So hard parsing means first time whenever the query is being encountered. Okay. First time whenever I'm giving the query, you call that as the hard parsing. Next one is soft parsing. Soft parsing means subsequent times. Okay. Other than the first time, whenever we are firing the query, you call that as the soft parsing. Okay. So this is done here. Next one is hash code generation. So these and all is being done by the library cache. Okay. Hash code generation means what? The machine code. That is whatever we are writing, no, it is converted to the corresponding machine code. Next one is execution plan. So execution plans mean what? So execution plan means shortest path it is for finding. Okay. Like for example, we want to travel from one place to another. We would like to find out the shortest path, right? So similarly here also, whenever we are giving a query, it should find out the shortest path route to reach the data file. Okay. So it will generate some 2000 execution plans, minimum 2000 execution plans it will generate, and among that it will select the shortest path. Okay. So that is what is called execution plan. Next one is fetch. So fetching the data. Okay. So these are the steps done by the library cache. Next one is data dictionary cache. So data dictionary cache means what? That is users and objects privileges are being checked. Okay. Users and objects privileges are checked. Whether this particular user U1 is connecting to the T1, table T1 means that user has the privilege That is, he has the permission to access this particular table or not. Okay, so that is done by this data dictionary cache only. So similarly, that particular table T1 has the privilege of this user U1 to be accessed or not. So in both the perspectives, it will check. Okay, this is how it has been checked. The other one is data dictionary views and tables are being maintained. Okay, data dictionary views and data dictionary tables are also being maintained inside the data dictionary cache. Okay, so these and all in the class we'll see what these are. Okay, next one is database buffer cache. So here only the actual execution of the query is being done. So for example, I'm giving inserting the record, means insertion is done here only. Next one, the redo log buffer, where are all the log entries are being stored here. Okay, log entries means like an attendance register, we can imagine, like which user has fired which query at what time on which machine. So all these things, all the redo log entries are being stored here. So this is used for recovery purpose a lot. Okay, so this is how these components play the role. Next one is large pool. So large pool means it acts as a sharing the burden of the shared pool. So shared pool, we said no, some functions are being done by the library cache and data dictionary cache. So these functions are being shared by the large pool. Whenever the shared pool is overflown with so many queries, it's not able to attend all the queries, means half of them or minimum it will be shared to them by the large pool. Next one is Java pool. So Java pool means Oracle will use for its internal applications. Okay, while we use the wizards, this Java pool is being used. Okay, so now next one is we have the background processes. So this PMON means process monitor. Okay, process monitor means what? Like while we work in Linux machines, no, we used to give kill -9 process ID to kill a particular process. So to remove a particular process or to release the locks of the transactions, because some memory structures might have been locked by these processes. So all those things will be released by PMON only. Next one is SMON. So SMON will take care of the instance recovery. See, for example, while we are doing the transactions, for example 1 lakh records I'm inserting. Okay, after 50,000 records I have saved, right? After that I'm inserting now 25,000 records, means first 50,000 records are being saved, the other 25,000 records are not yet saved. I'm just till I'm feeding the record. So at that time the instance gets crashed, means this SMON will roll forward means just move all the saved records, those 50,000 records I said, right? So those 50,000 records it will move to the data files, and then it will open the database for access, and then it will roll back means like undo, we are doing in Word, no, undo, like that it will roll back all the unsaved records, that is it will delete. Okay, so only those 50,000 records it will be stored in the data files. So such a role is being rendered by SMON, right? Next one is DB writer. So DB writer means the function of DB writer is to write the data, the actual data in DBBC to the data files. Okay, so DB writer will write from the DBBC into the data file. That's it. Next one is log writer. So it will write from the read log buffer into the read log files. Next one is checkpoint. Checkpoint like a counter, we can imagine, like it is an event. So whenever we are, so for example, one data file I have removed, I have dropped one data file, or I have truncated one table, or I have added one data file. So major changes, whatever we are doing in the database will be taken care by this checkpoint. So it will be recorded by the checkpoint, right? Next one, here we have the data files where the actual data we have. Then in the read log files, we have the read log entries, and in the control files, control files act as the like heart of the database, we can say. Okay, Heart of the database means what? It has to check the synchronization exists between the data files and read log files or not. Then only it will open. If there is synchronization between these two files, then only these control files will get open. Okay. These files only will open the data files and read log files. So next one is archive logs. So archive is just copy of this read log files. Okay, read log files already we know, online read log files we know. So the archived is just offline only, just a copy, because we know already read log files is for recovery purpose, I said, right, to generate the data. Because if we have the query, then we can generate the data, right? So these read log files are used for recovery. I want one more copy, that's why we are having this archive log files. Next one, we have the parameter files, where for the configuration parameters we used to use, and the password file. So the system DBS passwords will be stored here. And this PGA means program global area we saw, means all your sorting and searching purpose it's used for. Okay, so for example, order by, group by, while we are giving the query, it is done here. This is the place where those queries are being done. Fine. So do you have any doubts till now?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. So we have come to the end of the demo class. If you have any doubts, just let me know.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
So we are going to like practice on 12C or 19C or 11G?
12C. 12C,
12C.
because 18C and 19C are just the only a few more features are there. Basic architecture is 12C.
Okay, fine. So what's the difference between 12C and 19C then? Is it like more features or?
Yeah, see, the basic contents are same between 12C and 19C. Some more modifications they have done. Just they have introduced some more features. That's it. Some 5 to 6 features they have introduced in the perspective of DBA.
All right, fine. So are we are we going to practice on a VM with the virtual machines, or just like shall I have to in
virtual box we will install. Installation, everything I'll guide you in your laptop. What is your laptop configuration?
i7 with 16 GB RAM, 320 GB hard drive.
Okay, 16 GB would be okay, because for 12C we need at least 16 GB.
Okay. I already installed VM. There is a virtual machine with the files also then from Oracle website. So
no, because we
inbuilt pre-built virtual machines with the 12C.
Okay, but I don't think that would be of much use, because we should see the compatibility matrix, and then only accordingly we have to proceed. So that's not an issue. Within a single day, within 2 hours or so, we can complete the installation, whole installation. That's not an issue.
Fine then.
Yeah, fine.
And
yeah, tell me.
And okay. The diagrams, and after that that is a different part, right? Only the database structures and how we going, the functionality we are going through now.
Yeah, everything will be seeing. See, 12C architecture is different. Based on this, we'll have some more features in 12C architecture. So that we will be seeing elaborately.
All right, fine then, Rani. No worries.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
Okay, Suresh. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you.